Hey, morning, Hassan. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Hey, Masya. How you doing? How's everyone's morning? Hope you guys are doing well. Well, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Hey, Divesh. How's everyone's trading day been? So, my day's been pretty good. Secured so far. Nice 70% on this AUD USD trade. I kind of mentioned it yesterday when price was kind of around here that I wasn't going to close anything, if price came back and stopped me out, kind of is what it is. But you can perfectly see from our swing structure, price still kind of respected that zone. And then late into Asian session, we kind of saw a nice, let me just drop the brightness down on this a bit. Seven, right, okay. So yeah, I kind of let this run, and as you can see, as I'd kind of said, weak low, strong high, price respected the high, failed to break above, and it's pushing towards this low where we have this 4-hour area of unmitigated demand, and the 15-minute structure is still bearish. So secured some nice profits on this, so no risk of losing any money on this trade, so that was pretty good. Morning anchor, so this was pretty nice. AUD JPY, this was pretty good again. This was part of the weekly watch list I kind of mentioned, so you can kind of see we had a 15-minute area of supply over here. Obviously if you kind of go to the hourly, you have a supply sitting right at the top here as well. So price kind of respected this zone. We had a marginal closure above, but we already knew that on the daily time frame. Why is this color? Supply. Let's go into demand. So we already know that this is strong daily high, weak daily low, because we're in this weekly pullback. So as price came back into this region, we had a 4-hour breaker structure here in this extreme zone, so we could at least expect a 4-hour pullback from this area of supply, which again, if we kind of just delete this and then refine this supply zone, you could see that's where price kind of came into and mitigated. So as we've had a 4-hour breaker structure, we can expect potentially a pullback. Now, this was a little bit of an aggressive entry. It was partially aggressive because we didn't see structure shift, because we had our M15 push up here. This was just a pullback from this push up. But because we're already in that daily area of reversal, and we have this 4-hour supply created, we've got a lot of confluences why price should potentially sell off from this point. And we created this supply. So as price is pushing back up into this region, after the pullback was complete here, we started to push up, and then on a 5-minute chart, you know, we're starting to create some structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then boom, we take out all of these lows, sweep all of the liquidity from below this, and then what do we also do? We create this area of supply. So now if we mark the high that caused the low to break, you could perfectly see price wicked into that 70 to 79% zone. We have that area of supply created just over here. Just perfectly taps that 50% of the GAN box. Feel that inefficiency. We sweep liquidity from above this area, mitigate that supply, and then the rejection from there. My entry was slightly actually down here. There was my entry as price started to reject off of that, and all I was doing was covering the highs. Now technically we were still bullish, so all I'm looking to do at this point is trade most of my profits. So I closed 80% down in this reversal zone, potentially if price continues higher from this area. And if it rolls over, I have a runner running, and then I can look to scale in further positions if we sweep. If we take out this low, even though the swing low is this one, I would still be keen on pullbacks to kind of continue trading into this, because on the 4-hour time frame, we still have this entire range. We have this area of unmitigated demand, so we could see price continuing down to this point before we see the next push up to the top side. So, you know, it's a good place to be in when you've secured profits, and then, you know, you could let the rest kind of run and see where it goes. So that was pretty good as well. So a nice textbook setup. You know, be patient. Now again, I didn't go in with my normal risk. Purely why? Because I understood price here never broke the previous low, but at the same time I know we're in that higher time frame area of reversal, being the daily, being the 4-hour. So all of those confluences aligning allow me to take that. And then obviously I didn't just go in aggressive. It's not like I saw, oh, here is that area of supply and just a rejection here and I'm entering. No, I wanted to see the lower time frame shift. NZD CAD, yeah, I'll have a look at NZD CAD in a sec. And then AUD USD I've already kind of covered off. Euro JPY, this was the area that I kind of said we were going to start selling off from. But currently, you know, M15 is still, let's see what M15 is still bullish at the moment. You know, we had this high created. Come on, tool. We came to this extreme and then we pushed up. So yeah, we just need to see can the M15 shift, and then we get some kind of pullback here. NZD CAD Anchor said so NZD CAD is in that sell-off area, as I kind of mentioned before. You know, like I said before, it's a bit choppy purely because this daily structure is internal. You know, because we had this huge push and then we kind of started to sell off here. So it's all internal structure. So you got to take it with a pinch of salt. But you could see as we came into the daily pullback, we started to sell off. So as we started to sell off, where's our daily high? Our daily high was here. There was our daily low. If we mark our fib, this was the key area of reversal. Price came into this. And then from a 4-hour perspective, you know, we've not had that shift because we had this huge push up. Well, we came down, we had this break above, and then we had a 4-hour breaker structure here. So we then came back. So the lower time frame, we had already shifted here. Lower time frame, we had already shifted here, created this structure, came back to it, and then we had another break over here. So then we retraced into this perfect area of supply, and so as we started to come up into this region, so price come down, go back. So, you know, shorts in this region were pretty good. Now you can see we we kind of came, we had this push up, pull back, kind of created an equal high, and then we started to sell off. So any kind of sell over here was valid because of already the higher time frame of what we've spoken about here and what we've spoken about here. It's not always necessary that you have to see the shift. You're trading with the trend at that point in time. So by the trend, I mean the higher time frame trend, which is at this point it's you know, the overall is bearish. We knew this was the daily pullback. After we had this daily break to the downside, here's our daily pullback. The 4 hour shifted here, so that's telling us the daily pullback is complete. So natural expectation is for price to continue doing this. But again, like I said, you still have to be cautious because this daily structure is internal. You know, all this daily structure is internal. So that is NG. Now, GU, perfect example in GU now, you know. Now, again, like I just didn't want to short because we were in that 4 hour demand. Over here, we had this 4 hour area of demand. So I wasn't keen on shorting when price pulled back. But you could see this was a textbook. If this wasn't an area of demand, this was a perfect textbook scenario to continue shorting. Because if we look at this, there's our last 15-minute high. There's our last 15-minute low. No worries, Anchor. So you can see our last 15-minute high was here. Last 15-minute high was here. Last 15-minute low was here. Created a new low. Breaker structure here. So now we had this range and this range to work with. I obviously caught this buy to the upside, which was, again, 5-minute change of character. Price shifted bullish. Now, if we look at this, we had a push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up. This was internal, and then when we came here, we broke here. So that's telling us that the pullback is now complete. So now when price comes back into this region, we should, you know, technically, if this wasn't an area of demand, this was a key area just to short from for price to break the next M15 low, which is what it's done. You know, once the pullback was complete, we saw the shift here. Price pulled back, and then price started to sell off. And then this morning, during London, you could see we took out that 15-minute low. So, you know, where are we sitting right now? We're pretty much still hovering about. We're still hovering about this area of demand. Let's just mark this up again. Well, we're breaking through it, to be fair. Now, if we have a clean break, which is what it looks like, you know, where's the next demand zone? The next demand zone sits down here. So, at that point, I'll be expecting the M15 structure to continue bearish until we get to this point. You know, because everything else is pretty much mitigated. So, until that point, I'll be expecting price to continue bearish. So we've created that M15 structure. Now currently, where's our M15 high? Our M15 high sits above here. This is our current low as it broke this, but if we are we going to continue bearish? We probably are. You know, we'll just have to wait and see. On an M15, can we see any demand zone to the left here that's unmitigated? No, probably somewhere along the lines of where we have our high time frame demand. Now on a 5-minute, we could see, you know, we had this push down, we had a pullback, and then now we're kind of breaking to the downside. And within this, we have our internal structure, which was lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and we have a lower low. So price could just continue doing this until we get into an area of demand. So there's nothing really to trade at this point on GU. But like I said, if there wasn't that 4-hour demand here where price reacted from, then shorts would have been good textbook setup when it comes to shorts on that. Now gold, you know, again, this is why it's important. We don't just jump in. We had this area of demand, but you could see if I just mark this demand up, Price bounced off it a couple of times, but never broke structure to the top side, and then we kind of sold off. So right now, as it stands, all this was internal anyway, you know, because where's our M15 swing that we had? Our M15 swing is all the way from here. You know, that's the last M15 breaker structure that we had. We kind of did this, and now we're doing this. So in order for there to be confidence in buyers, you know, we would have really had to, if you go onto the H4, we had some supply here. We would really want to see a break of this, but this is a strong area of demand. Not to say we aren't going to continue higher from this point, but as it stands, internal structure is all bearish. You know, we came down, pull back, came down, pull back. We came down, pull back, came down, pull back, and then we had this drop, we had a pullback, we had this drop, we had a pullback. Now this hasn't broken the previous low, so as it stands, this is still our lower high, and there's our lower low. Now we're retesting that 4-hour demand again. You know, I refined it down on the 1 hour. As you can see, it's a strong area of demand. Now, you know, is price going to respect this and continue higher? I think we have some news on the dollar today. Let's go see what we have on the dollar. Yeah, so we have flash PMI on the dollar, so we'll see what happens with that. But you know, as tempting as it looks, oh, we failed to break this low, price could quite easily just come into this area of supply and roll over. So that the more safer trade, you at least want to see this internal structure break and shift, so we can then continue higher. Because right now, this is our swing, you know, so the natural course of price is to break this low, but we also know we're in that high time frame area of demand. So this could be the area where we see the H4 pullback, but right now there's no guarantee. This demand failed, overall price has been bearish, we haven't shifted no structure, internal structure is bearish here, so it's about being patient. I would much prefer price to create a new low so we can have another breaker structure here, and then probably price to come to this extreme and then shift, and then we can look to get involved, because then at that point, even if we look at an intraday trading opportunity, we do have some areas of supply up here that are unmitigated, and you know, we do have liquidity above these equal highs. And you could see we had liquidity building up here during Asian range. So London swept the lows. Now can NY come in and sweep the highs, and then we continue pushing up? But right now internally we are still bearish. You know, so there's nothing to sit there trading when it comes to gold. Not the way we trade anyway. Hey reader, hope everyone's well. Remember guys, hit the like button on the stream. It doesn't cost you a dime or a penny. If there's any pairs anyone wants me to have a look at, feel free, drop them in the chat, and I'll happily take a look at them. Now Euro USD is a kind of similar scenario to what Pound USD was, but with Euro USD we haven't taken out the previous low. You could see NZD USD, I'll have a look at NZD USD after this. So you could see we had that last M15 breaker structure, price perfectly came into this fib, we were pushing up to the top side, and then we kind of swept these lows, came back, and then we started to shift bearish. Now we are in this high time frame demand, and you could see I've just preemptively anticipated that if price shifts bullish, where can it shift from? Over here. Now we do have a extreme demand zone just at the lows here, which I would expect, I would be waiting to see if price mitigates this and then we shift, but so far there's nothing telling us to buy this, you know. Nothing telling us to buy this. High time frame is bearish. Lower time frame is bearish. So we just have to be patient and wait to see what the market does. you know, if from here, for argument's sake, we don't come this low and we break above this supply and then pull back, then yeah, I'll be 100% looking for buyers, because then you would expect this supply to act as a pullback zone for price to continue, create the next M5 down to break the M15 low and create a new M15 structure. So do this. But if price fails to do that within this region, it's a primary of reversal. So anything like this would act as areas for buyers. Morning, Damien. So Reda, you wanted NZD USD. Let's have a look at NZD USD. NZD USD, I think I mentioned before, I think we are still bullish on NZD USD in terms of pullback. If you kind of see where price is at, we had this, you know, we were originally pulling back, we then entered this retracement and started to do this. So I personally feel that price is heading back up towards 0.645. Now in the 4-hour chart, you know, you could see we had this push down and then we started to shift bullish, and then we had this flush to the downside, and then we shifted back above again. And once we shifted above again, we came into this pullback zone, and then we started to push off. Now within this we have M15 structure, higher, 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 low, higher, higher. So personally, I would be saying, if you can see price create this internal structure coming down here and then see a shift, then you could look to start buying this back up to mitigate some of these key areas of supply quite comfortably at like 0.6633. But overall, I would expect price to at least come up to this area of supply at 0.63400, and if not, quite comfortably break this week high, because we are bullish and price this high failed to take out this previous low, and then create a new high heading back up towards this 0.64600 region where we have that extreme supply, which aligns with filling out all of this inefficiency and imbalance. So that's what I would be looking at personally. Hopefully that makes sense. Come on, is AUD JPY gonna continue down? Now I still have a position in GBP CHF. It's been pretty choppy, but this is part of the watch list. Price coming back into this area of demand and then continue pushing up from here. Now I kind of covered yesterday why I entered and stuff, so if you want to know that, personally today everything's on the watch list, radar, that I've got for the week. Like I said, today I've kind of covered off things like what I'm looking at potentially for Euro USD, in what situation I'll be looking at buys. I'm not looking to short this yet because we are in that area of demand, so we could see a reversal. So you know, I've kind of covered that. AUD JPY, I'm in this trade, so this has kind of happened. There's nothing in this until price either doesn't break below this previous low and pull back and fill out this inefficiency and mitigate this supply to continue down. AUD USD are kind of covered as well. I'm already in this position, so nothing really to scale in here. Gold, as I've said, personally I want to see price, if we can break, currently we have this high, this low. I would want to see this become the high and price break this low and come lower down, and then see a shift after news comes out, and then potentially look for some trades. Pound USD as well, same thing, no real trade on this pair as of yet. So I'm in some trades, so there's nothing like right now that I'm kind of looking at. See if there's any of the other pairs that aren't on the watch list, if anything's kind of happening with these. Not much with so one to watch out, AUD NZD. With USD news, we want to see a rate structure change in well, you'll obviously see a change because the lower time frame is, the internal structure is bearish, so I would personally want to see price doing this and then see a shift in order to kind of get involved. But again, it's not just a change for me, it's a change. Do we create demand? Do we create that demand zone that leaves behind imbalance and inefficiency? Does it align with my fib? Multiple entry confluences. Like, I don't personally just break a structure or change a character. There's multiple other things that need to align in order for me to personally enter my trade. So if it just has a break and it pulls back, am I interested in just that? No, I'm not. But personally, I'm not going to get involved before news, regardless of what the market does. Because right now, the expectation should just be order flow on the 15-minute is bearish. We had this huge push down. We had a retracement. Now we're heading down to take out this low. So for me to entertain buys or anything like that is just not valid at all. So right now, it's just see what news does, see what it brings. If we can shift with some nice volume, then pullbacks and continuations is what I'll be personally looking for. So yeah, I was saying AUD NZD. Again, we have been bullish. Like I said, this massive swing. We pulled back. We started to shift higher. We've come down to test this extreme daily area of demand. Now we do, I believe, have NZD news, tomorrow, like 3 a.m. like UK time for me, which is the interest rate decision. So there's an expectation that interest rates are going to rise by 0.25%. So that could be interesting to see what price does after that. So if we kind of revise this demand zone, could see we have the low point there, or we have this candle over here. which probably seems a bit nicer. So I'll be looking at tomorrow to see, right, okay, what does the news do? If we can see some nice momentum shift from here, then some buyers would probably be in order on this pair. Pull back, push down. So yeah, one to watch out for from tomorrow, just to see after news what happens with this. CAD CHF, not much, not until price pulls back into like 0.65600 for me anyway. As we had this major push up, we haven't had that retracement, and that retracement aligned perfectly with our key area. Lots of liquidity built up under this low, under this low. We've already swept the liquidity above this high. For people looking to short early, we could see this and then see the next push up. So again, it's just patience with sometimes with pairs, you know. Euro AUD is just horrible. It's just like sideways price action. Nothing to trade in this at all. Again, guys, drop. If you have pairs, you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll happily do my best to answer them. Yeah, look at pound, GBP pound. Not interested unless we can pull back into this area of supply before we mitigate this area of demand, which is here, where we still have some imbalance to fill for price. So you can see price is building liquidity here. Now if we can kind of get back up into this region, that aligns nicely with the swing. So this was the current swing that came down, that caused this structure to break here. So retracements back up into this area of premium to mitigate this supply would be a nice short opportunity. But again, you could see there's just, till that point, there's not much to trade with this. Euro JPY I've already spoken about. Pound AUD is pretty horrible, not interested. What's happening with GJ? So GJ broke above this area. We created a new 4-hour high. So we had a 4-hour break of structure. M15. Marginally broke above that. What is price doing? Yeah, not much with this yet, to be fair. USD CAD. Let's have a look at USD CAD. So USD CAD is just, to be fair, I've just kind of left it off my charts. It's just, look at this on a daily. It's just, there is no direction, you know. For me personally, you know, we had this big expansion to the top side and then we were kind of coming back. So if we see this low to that high, overall I'm expecting price to come back into this 1.3 region where we have this area of unmitigated demand as a point to react from. Again, high time frame, I've given my personal opinion. I do think we're bearish. You could go look at it from the weekly. You know, we had a push down, retracement. We kind of broke these lows, pulled back. So expecting price to shift bearish, but there's that daily range that I'm kind of talking about. Internally, we had this push up, we had a pullback, we had this push up, and then we had a shift. So we created this range here, we created this high, and then we created this low. So nothing is broken below this low and nothing is broken above that high. So it's just, we've been pretty sideways. You know, we kind of came up, created this lower high, higher low, internal higher high, internal higher low, and then we're just kind of doing this. So there's just no clear direction on where price wants to go. And even on the, you know, as we were coming down, I wanted to see this low get taken and then potentially see a pullback, but price kind of came down, failed to break this low. We then pulled back, which okay, it's fine, which, you know, I was expecting, right, price maybe to do this and kind of pull back, but we never reached this kind of high. It failed to take out the low, then we failed to break this low, and then we start to pull back up. So, you know, we internally bullish, but we had this strong bearish move, never failed to take out the low. So it's pretty tough. All I will say is this is probably an area to watch for some potential intraday moves. We have this supply zone, and as you can see, you know, price continues pushing up into here, and then we see a shift, then there could be something play out. Now I don't probably expect that to happen for until at least leading into next week. So it's just one of those pairs which I've kind of left off my charts, just very indecisive, no clear direction, you know, because you could see here when price pulled back here, let's see this. So that, you know, the trade really was, which was the missed opportunity, which was buyers over here in this area of demand, because well, there was opportunities here and there was opportunities over here. Obviously the one that you took, Damien, down over here, I remember this demand here. We then kind of had this massive push, we start to sell off coming down over here, and then boom, we shifted again. And I'm guessing that shift was based on, yeah, so that shift was based on this big swing, higher high, higher low. Now within this swing, you could see we have our internal structure, which is this, you know, well, this is kind of like just sideways, and then you can see we start to create lower low, lower high, pulled back into this, and then we kind of shifted. So buyers were kind of here on an intraday. Right now where it's kind of sitting, it's pretty not interested in it until it gets back up into like 1.36. Personally, I'm not saying you can't trade it. That's what I would kind of be looking at. Have you got no GP CAD? Let me have a look at it. I'm not too sure if I did. So GBP CAD. So we had the daily break. We haven't yet mitigated this area of extreme supply. You know, we had this push up within this. We had this kind of 4-hour structure, and we're in this range. So, you know, on a daily, you can see demand is at the extreme over here on a daily time frame. Now we could see price come all the way down to here. Now if we look at this on a 4-hour, could probably slightly refine this and be like, right, okay, we have demand sitting over here. Now price just reacted to this area of supply and started to sell off. So personally, I think we could see another push down into here, and then if we can see some shift here, we could start trading the next push to the upside, at least to mitigate some of these supply zones, and then to eventually take this high out, and then to mitigate this, and then from this point we could probably see a price having a deeper correction. But right now it's we had this big push up, price is kind of coming back down. You probably want to see, you know, two things. You know, where do we have a clean demand? Do we have a clean demand? We don't really. There's demand at this extreme. But personally, I think that was just an original tap into that 70 to 79. We've already seen on the higher time frame, we have demand that sits further down. So you'd kind of really expect lower time frame to continue bearish. If we see any kind of major reaction to this area of demand here, and you start to see lower time frame shift bullish, then we can start to think, right, okay, price isn't coming down here, and start to trade this back up. But if lower time frame still continues bearish, let's just mark this out. Kind of had this, had a pullback, this, pullback, this. If we just continue doing this, then just let it be. If you get a reaction off of this demand, expect that, but unless it doesn't break structure, then I wouldn't be interested, because I would probably expect price to come in deeper on this zone, which aligns more better with the daily and the 4 hour. Right guys, that was a quick stream. Hopefully if you're interested in any pairs I've kind of gone over, feel free to watch back and have a look at it. Apart from that, I'm going to jump off, enjoy the rest of my day, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. If you're new and you haven't joined the Discord, I've shared the link, feel free to join, it is free, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.